Gonna fall asleep?
I'm not gonna fall asleep. I'm not a pussy like you are. I'll
What?
take this 100 milligram. I said it. I said it.
Oh,
I said it.
Motherfucker used to fall asleep every show.
I
He's
did.
calling me a
I
pussy.
really did. But now you got a camera on me, and I can't do that.
That's right.
Oh, you
ain't
have.
that hard?
Surveillance.
Ain't that a bitch?
Ain't that a bitch,
All
bro?
right. How do I get this? Oh, here we go. Damn son of a bitch.
Tried to like burp and cough at the same time. That hurt.
All right. Why the fuck is
What?
your what hurts?
What's going
What?
on? What's up with this
Your
intro?
show, dude. Are you doing this or what?
All right.
Oh, I'm too high for this, man.
I had to
This
bring
is
up the Facebook feed so I
Oh.
could see what Oracle was actually showing. All right, ladies and gentlemen,
Got some mountains, bro.
tonight on the Red Eye Report, we're going to talk about the biggest secret feat of engineering ever covered up by the CIA, known as Project Azorian. With us tonight is No Fucks Mystics. He once saw an old lady trying to cross the street and told her, "Good luck, bitch. I ain't going anywhere."
Wow.
Then there's
And,
I
and
can't
all she wanted
remember.
to do was ride on the handlebars of his rascal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then there's I can't remember if I've ever been to Disney World Trip Teddy, who's all ready to go help Disney Corp make up for all those losses this March. Beside him is no longer recovered marijuana addict Oracle, who with the rest of Rhode Island believes that because
Look
Joe
at that
Biden's in
smile.
office, he can now just get baked and coast for the next 5
That's
years.
right, man.
Oracle, are you high right now?
A little bit, yeah.
Awesome,
bit.
it is a full red eye report.
Right. We have
Cheers.
finally
Yeah,
completed
finally,
it.
Fucking
you're finally on the
cheers,
dark
bro.
side, the green side.
Yes. Welcome to the land of the munchies.
Wait, you haven't been
Cheers
getting
to that.
high this whole time?
Sorry, man.
What
We've
the
been
fuck?
lying to our
Finally,
viewers.
finally come home to roost.
We would have kicked you out a long time ago.
Had we known that shit.
Show here. Project Azorian is what happened is in 1968, March 11th, a Soviet ballistic missile submarine called the K-129 basically had
Great name.
two catastrophic missile events. Basically, there are two big fuck off booms in the ocean about 6 minutes
Blew
apart.
up. Okay.
And
Thanks for that
the reason we
technical,
knew this.
the technical description.
Right,
Fuck off.
Exactly.
Big
Well, because
fuck-off
at that
booms.
point, that's all we knew. The only reason we knew that is because the United States had a network of hydrophones in the ocean. This is during the Cold War. And
Oh,
so the
had
Soviets
submarines and shit.
Actually what it was is the network was for making sure if they were to secret test of nukes under the water. Like if the Soviets were to do nuclear testing under the ocean, that's how they would know.
Gotcha.
But this would pick up. This was not a nuclear explosion, but it big enough that these sensors picked it up. Soviets are like, fuck. Anybody hear back from our sub? Yeah, it's like, oh shit, things lost. You know, they're like, oh fuck. Like, so they kind of went and like did a real broad sweep of like, well, this is the last. You know, we heard they were around here. I don't know. Meanwhile, the U.S. Using their network of hydrophones, basically kind of like triangulated the distance of the sound on these different hydrophones. It's like it's got to be around this area, and it was like they narrowed it down to about like a 5-kilometer area, and they sent a boat. That it was like one of the first ships that had the submersible cameras. So they went down and they actually found it and were able to bring back photographic evidence of it down there. And like they could see from the photos that the missile bay was like blown up. Like the missile, not
Like
you know,
fucked
a
up
nuke
and shit,
didn't go
bro.
off. Yeah, it's fucked up, twisted. The nuke. A nuke didn't go off.
There was
but
a nuke in there?
Oh, they were nuclear tipped torpedoes.
Jesus
Um,
Christ.
Wow.
Fuck.
The thing is, though, it wasn't like the nuke. The nuke didn't go off. It was the propellant, for like to launch the torpedo exploded and sunk the submarine. And so they then,
That's why you don't
Somehow.
smoke weed in the sub.
yeah, right. They got the CIA decides, you know
Smoking
what?
in here, bro?
Let's try we know the Soviets don't
safe?
know this. They don't know where their sub is. They just assume it was lost. Let's try to pick this fucker up. So what they
Okay.
do is let's concoct this story. We're gonna build this ship that's like a big deep sea mining ship because only just recently they had actually proved that the theory of tectonic plate shifting wasn't proved up until the I guess the 60s, where they had the technology to drill that deep in the middle of the ocean to get the core samples to prove tectonic plate theory. So they used that same technology, like let's use a ship like that, but we're going to put a capture unit. This is like how ridiculous it is. We're going to build this big capture unit and we're going to go down and try it, sink around that submarine and clamp it, and then try to lift it up and recover it in the nuclear missiles and see what we can get. And if you show some of these pictures here, yeah, that's the Hughes Glamour Explorer. So, of course, anything from the
Sounds like a TV show plot, to be honest.
because it was
like Batman, like Lex Luthor.
Right,
they're like,
Just
we
fucking
can't
doing
have the U.S. saying like, oh, it's the United States is just doing some. The cover story was that we're doing deep sea mining because there were legitimate those core samples that proved tectonic plate theory showed that there was high concentrations of like magnesium and like valuable ores. So that was the cover story. And well, we don't want the government to do it, so we got to get some private enterprise. Who better than Howard Hughes?
I was gonna say that. I thought he was involved, or they said
That's
he was
why it was
involved.
called the Hughes Glamour Explorer. They made up an entire story that his, basically that he invested in building this, one of a kind ship that was going to go out and try to mine for minerals in the deep sea.
So this is right around like piss drinking Howard Hughes time, right?
Oh, probably because he's like super secretive,
70s, yeah.
as he was. Yeah. So this would have been like probably, because the plans would have started probably by, this is March 1968. So I'm sure I can't remember the date when the actual plans started, but it was probably by the next year that they were in contact with him and basically, like, here's the plan. So what it was just like Howard Hughes was like, I don't want fucking anything to do with it. His like management team basically coordinated with the CIA. They even parked the ship after they built it, right off the same dock where he kept the what was it, the Spruce Moose? Or was that what it was called?
Yeah.
Spruce Goose.
Spruce Goose.
The moose, yeah, they
moose,
fly
yeah.
well.
No, the spruce moose was in Tailspin.
So,
That series, look it up.
I don't doubt you. I know you would know that. So that was like all part of the cover story. They built this crazy ship. If you go down a little further, they'll show like they made the biggest gimbal system. Oh, where did I put that fucking note?
Damn.
What's sexy?
That's
so
these
these
fucking
bearings.
bearing
These
things.
big bearings, yeah.
Holy shit.
They bring up. They were the largest 3-stage bearings ever made, and to this date they've never made bearings larger than this.
Because what the fuck would you use it for?
Well, so essentially they made this gimbal. Well, they make the thing is the size was due to the amount of weight. they make these kind of bearings for gimbals all the time for because these these drilling ships, the actual drill part is on this kind of rotating gimbal, so that as the ship is like fucking bopping around with the waves, the drill can stay level. But usually when you're just drilling for oil or ore or whatever, like it's the weight of the bit itself. But this thing turned out that the capture vehicle called Clementine, which you can scroll down, and you'll see some like screenshots, which is kind of the best way to describe it. It's almost like it's a robotic claw, and that weighed about 2,000 tons.
Damn.
The submarine they're gonna pick up was estimated the submarine's about 2,000 tons, and then the pipe. So it was a special pipe that was designed where it was actually hollow, and they pumped seawater as a hydraulic system to actually run this crab robot machine. It was run hydraulically on pumped seawater. And so it was a special made, it wasn't just like your average, like, oh, we're going to send oil miners up on the fucking asteroid. You know, they know what they're doing. You know, it's just like, no, we can't just use oil rig material. Like, these are very, like, all the piping was specially made. That was 4,000 tons. And then if you count the gimbal system itself of those bearings, that was another 2,000 tons. So you had basically 10,000 tons of iron that were in suspension in the operation, and the ship itself had to, it was fighting the surface ocean forces. So not only is there the gimbal system, which takes all of the actual stress from all that pipe, and it puts it on the bearings. Then that had it was like a piston system that could like bob with the ship. So it was like this kind of ridiculous, like no oil drilling ships or anything like that have to put up to that kind of stress level. So this thing was like one of a kind. It had a moon pool. I think if you scroll up a little, basically the bottom of it was two giant doors that separated open, and that's how they dropped the capture vehicle called Clementine. And Clementine went down, and they would then, the plan was to pick the submarine up, pull it up into the ship. They could close the bottom, and no one outside would know what's going on, because they knew the Russians would be watching them.
Mm-hmm.
And so they even had like this ridiculous, so the shipyard that built the ship, was like, well, this is kind of a, really extreme request. The whole cover story was that we're mining for minerals. But then they're like, oh, we brought up this weird heavy lifting equipment and all this stuff. They're kind of like, well, whatever, we don't know. Because they then had a secret barge that's like, remember the Google barge? I don't even know what they ended up having was inside that. But do you remember that news story?
Google barge.
Barge off of San Francisco Bay. It was like a white barge that was owned by Google. They knew that, but Google wasn't talking about what was going on in there. It was a similar story. That entire barge was what the capture vehicle was hidden inside. They sunk it down under the ocean, and then at night they drove the what the hell was the ship name? The Glomar over top of that, picked up this capture unit, and so like under the cover of night, like got the secret capture unit into it. This thing was made just for this one operation.
Why hasn't this been turned into a movie?
Yeah, this is fucking.
I'm surprised.
Crazy.
with fucking Tom Hanks is like
This the documentary
Wily
is
Captain or
on
something.
Prime, and it if you're interested in watching it, it's actually to really get a grasp of it. It's a lot of good like CGI to kind of show like how the operation was going, and keep in mind, so these guys when they drop this thing down there, they then have to sink it into the mud. They were originally the plan was to get core samples of the mud around to see how thick it was. Well, when they were in the process of that drill bit broke, and it was like fucked. It was just like there's no way they could figure out what the core sample was, so they just had to guess.
Donnie, you didn't bring a second drill bait, you fucking
Exactly.
retard.
Nope. This inspired the movie Armageddon. They just put it on the moon
Oh,
Yeah,
rock.
right, yeah. That's it.
Fucking code, fucking Q put it out
So,
there, man.
keep in mind,
Original
this
Q
is,
drop, Armageddon.
Yeah. This submarine is 3 miles down.
Those crazy white people are
Jesus
gonna come after us.
fuck.
'cause
That's
you-
3
Jesus
miles
Christ.
of like this pipe.
3
That's
miles of
insane.
pipe.
um
That's your mama's sex tape right there.
So they sunk it into the mud around the submarine. They actually from the ship put pressure down. The problem was that they didn't know how thick the mud was, so they weren't sure how much the stress was going to be on the arms. And so when they lifted up, like right away, arm number 4, like fucked. The only
Dude,
reason they
buddy.
know it's fucked is because the instrument says like they just like lost all pressure. So they did though have actual video cameras, like a couple of video cameras on the thing. It also had all these fucking thruster propellers around it, and then all the electronics were stored in these super like 4-foot round, thick stainless steel spheres. Keep in mind this is 1974. So like, think of how big electronics were then. They
Yeah,
could do
right.
this with a cell phone today. But that then had big fat hydraulic legs, which you can kind of see on those pictures on the side.
Mm-hmm.
That then did the heavy lifting and pulled the submarine out. The little crab fingers had actual hydraulic jets that helped push the mud out of the way so it could help dig around the submarine. And then once they lifted it up, they stretched on one side where the torpedo tubes were, they stretched this like chainmail mesh underneath it just in case they slipped out. And so they start, it was like, all right, based on like the weight, they're just doing this all by like a couple, cameras and, the instruments, so it's like, oh, well, based on the weight load, it's like, yep, we've got it. We're coming up. And after like, I don't know, it was like 15 hours or whatever, they've got like 9,000 feet, they've made it up. And this is the most dangerous part, is lifting the thing. There was all of a sudden like this kind of shudder throughout the whole ship. And one of the worries in the entire design to begin with was that if the pipe that actually held the entire thing, if that were to be snap under the stress, all that weight of not only the submarine but the big grabber capture vehicle, the weight that would shoot up into the ship, they were afraid like that might snap the entire boat in half. They weren't
Jesus
sure
Christ.
that they'd be able
Holy
to
fuck.
handle that. Yeah. So that was like one of the main stressors. They actually even had as the
Then why would they? If that was the case, why wouldn't they use more than one pipe to try to secure it?
the
I don't-
thing,
that's
Teddy,
what I don't.
no, Teddy, there's 60-foot sections. That's how it works.
Okay.
It's not like one big pipe that they then tip up.
Okay.
Okay. The thing is, each one of these sections screws into the next one, and each one has to, support all that load. And it was like this very specific tapered thread that was super deep, and then they had to put little 15 horsepower motors to keep a constant pressure of a clockwise, like a tight motion, so it wouldn't come loose.
Wow.
And they then, this is before GPS, mind you, they then had to set these little sonar transmitters down on the ocean floor, which would then send a radio signal up, so the ship could tell like where it was in position. So it kind of had like a safety kind of circle of about I can't remember if it was like maybe 100 yards or so. It could shift back and forth, and so this is like pre-GPS. It was kind of a new technology for the time, and that's what kept it geostationary. After about, though, they got about 9,000 feet up, then they felt this shake, and it turned out like more of the fucking arms failed and snapped, and 2/3 of the submarine fell.
Oh shit!
Yeah, so like they're all like, "What the fuck happened?" And they're looking. The guys who are watching the screen are like, "Oh, fuck! Oh, well, looks fine to me." Well, it turns out, like, whatever system,
the screen.
Well, the system they forgot the fact that the screens they were looking at were on a system where it took like stills every certain amount of period of time, so it wasn't a live feed, and they switched it to live, and there's just nothing there. It's like, fuck.
You fucking make the like most complex machine of the 20th century.
Right.
And you don't have a live video camera.
Yeah, and it's reliant on some idiot switching it to live video.
Well,
camera.
The thing is, to keep in mind, this is like just it took 15 hours to get to this point, and this is 9,000 feet of 17,000 feet.
Damn.
Yeah.
Like, so I think what it was is like the camera, and probably for that technology, like running a live feed continuously wasn't realistic. I don't know, or maybe
they didn't have
like
streaming technology, probably.
And anyways, yeah, right. They didn't have the latest Bluetooth, so they then had to basically, with all their gauges and pressures and like weights, try to figure out what happened, and eventually they could figure out, like, based on the weight, there was still some of the submarine there, basically where the net went under the torpedo tubes. So they continued raising the rest of it. Meanwhile, the entire time they're doing this operation, there's this fucking Russian tugboat that's like just trolling around like, what you doing?
Just a drunk fucking Russian.
Hey, yeah.
Hey, what you doing?
They showed black and white photos of them too, and it's like they said there was like 2 or 3 women who were on the boat as well with these dudes, and like they often traded sundresses. It's like it's like where they just like some Russian prostitutes they sent out with these soldiers to basically incognito as just a tugboat.
It's a tugboat, all right.
They just circling around. And then they had at one period they also set a helicopter around with like a telephoto lens, and they just circled. Keep in mind the ship itself has its own helicopter pad, so they literally like started bringing boxes and crates and shit to put on the helicopter pad to discourage them trying to land on the ship. Like they didn't really know what the Russians would try to do.
Wow.
So once they got the capture vehicle up into the ship, they then closed those, the moon pool doors, and then it took something like 12 hours, I think it was. But like that entire area, they basically just had to pump the water out in there, wait. And most of the people weren't allowed. Let's see, this ship was designed to hold 178 people were on this ship. And it was designed to sustain itself for 100 days. They pumped all the water out, and then they went into the submarine and like digged around for what they could. It sounds like the way they described it was this guy was like, nothing I recognized seemed like it was anything of the inside of a submarine, but it was because it was so deep, the pressure just smushed everything. It was like a pile of mush, I guess they described it. You know, it's like
Jesus.
how much of that mush is people.
Right.
I mean, there were bodies.
Yeah,
They
it was a Russian sub. It was full of people.
they salvaged the nukes. They got 2 nukes. Even though the nukes were like crushed, they were able to, take those apart and learn from it. That was one, also why it was contaminated. They had to wear hazmat suits, and they weren't really allowed to cut anything with blowtorches because plutonium was all around it. But that was just because the explosion of the torpedo like scattered the material. It wasn't an actual nuclear explosion. So they also got some like code books and shit like that. They did a private burial for the remains of the Russians, in which they did film, and they used a Russian flag, and they folded it up, and they saved basically like, well, we're gonna make this just in case like this comes out and we have to let the Russians know. Which they come back with the stuff with what they managed to retrieve, and like it was pretty quick that they were talking about we're gonna go back out there. It's like you already made this custom made ship for this particular operation. In theory, it's like you learned a lot too in that operation. They made this, so they started like basically making the plans for let's try to go out there and get what slipped out. And all of a sudden, word got out that the New York Times had a story that the CIA was, in some sort of secret operation to retrieve. The thing is, the Soviets, while they could have, they theorized that this, maybe the U.S. might know where the submarine went down, but they're like, it's 17,000 feet in the fucking ocean. Impossible. No one could, the pressures are so deep, like there's just no way you could try to retrieve it with the current technology. And CIA was like, hold my beer. Hold my beer. Here's my purse.
Yeah.
And so unfortunately, while they were getting excited to gear up and go out for a second expedition, which would be cost effective, that you already had the boat made, the New York Times was going to break the story. The New York Times actually did hold the director of the CIA, convinced them to hold on the story, but then it was fucking Los Angeles Times just like, oh shit, we're in the West Coast, so we're always late with stories, so we better just fucking leak it now. And it fucking derailed the whole operation to try another shot at it. And it then became this whole like, no, they had to deny it.
LA Times.
And then so like it never ended up. The poor ship did end up getting basically like torn apart, refitted, but those ginormous like one of a kind 3-ring bearings recycled.
Now they're just fucking aluminum cans or what?
Well, no, I mean they would have been melted down and reforged for different steel. But it's like if you didn't have some sort of operation that needed it, that sort of a bearing that could, the bearing was basically to hold that is 8,000 tons of weight. Because when you're normally just dropping drill bits, that's not that much weight. No one's got a use for them, so they just scrapped them. It's unfortunately.
Cocksuckers.
But yeah, so it wasn't until recently with the Freedom of Information Act. So like the news story broke before they could go out again that the CIA was possibly doing this or attempted to do this. And so it wasn't until recently though that the CIA actually like released a lot of this information in the video. And also
we did it, bitches.
It wasn't until the 90s that we actually were like, hey, here you go, Russia. Here's the video. Here's the video what we did with your pulverized sailor remains.
Yeah.
We didn't show you the part where we jizzed all over him though. First,
Yeah. So, yeah, if you go to Prime, I'll be honest, I saw this and I kept ignoring it because I thought it was like Project Arizona, like the USS Arizona in Hawaii and Pearl Harbor. And I was like, fuck that ship. I know about that ship. I'm like, oh, you dumbass. It's Azorian. But check it out. Pretty good documentary.
Check
All
it out.
right. Moving along to what sexy Oracle dispensary.
So
Off the
finally,
wagon.
after
Yeah, how many years do you
How-
think it's been since you?
probably, I don't know, probably like 5. So I'll be honest with you. Every time that I did weed, I would do it like once a year, once every 2 years. I would have horrible experiences.
So did you smoke when I
Describe
came? Did
those
you smoke
horrible
with us when I came? We came to stay to that race
Okay, maybe that was one time that I didn't.
because
feel
we
so
smoked
that
a shit
might
ton
have
of weed.
been-
I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure. I'm pretty sure
That
we
might have been
fucking
5 years
smoked with
ago.
us.
God, how long was it?
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a long time ago.
But like I'd have
Yeah, it
all
was 5 years
these
ago.
these
was, what?
situations where I'd feel like I was like on fire. I'd be throwing up. Like, yeah,
It was
all kinds of crazy ass
tragedy.
shit.
Wait. You feel like you're on fire?
Like it just my skin was super hot
like,
and everything.
temperature?
It was
Are
crazy.
you sure you weren't smoking late shit? Is it?
Well, that's the thing is it would happen all the fucking time. So I was never really that interested because these terrible experiences happen. Well, I've been hearing about all this medical marijuana and shit like that, and it is legal in Massachusetts, which is a 15-minute drive over. So I've been working
Damn,
on
only 15 minutes.
15
Ain't that some shit?
and the medical dispensary is 5 minutes away from my place, so that's even closer. But yeah, I go there and I'm expecting some shady ass shit because I'm like, oh fuck, man, this is
Yeah,
gonna
it's not a crack house, bro.
it's in an industrial
It's a
park or whatever.
professional establishment.
Man, I fucking pull up. It's like a club. Like they've got this thing. They got people directing traffic. All of these people from Massachusetts and Rhode Island are coming in there. You go in, you show your ID. They check your shit just like you're going into a club. And then they buzz you in. And I mean, it was like fucking amazing how nice this place was.
Was there like a cafe in there?
Oh my god, dude! Like it was so fucking nice.
Just
it was
hang
just
out
like
and chill?
Well, I don't think people were really chilling and that might have to do with COVID-19. They're probably keeping people moving along or whatever. But it had a nice fucking vibe. On the
like an Apple store.
They're playing like Stevie Nicks, but like a cool, like non-douchebag Apple store kind of deal. But yeah,
Those are the best Apple stores.
I got some shit.
Dude, I'm telling you, try the edibles and the drinks. If they have any drinks, those drinks are pretty awesome.
Yeah. I'm excited to try shit out. And honestly, I've been smoking shit for like the past 4 days or whatever. No problem at all. Like I don't feel
your skin isn't on fire.
My skin isn't on fire. I'm not getting like paranoid or anything. It's fucking fine. It's totally fine. So I don't know what the fuck
is fake fire.
like PCP or whatever I was smoking with these other times.
Dude, I remember smoking the same shit you did that time when you we had to pull over in Rapids and shit because you were all fucked up.
I'm like,
but you were also wearing a fucking leather jacket too, dude,
I was
in a
wearing
fucking
leather
car.
Jacket, had long hair. Maybe I was just hot.
Yeah.
But I'm throwing up and the cops are right there.
Fucking.
But you pulled over because you were stoned. The cops were right there.
Yeah. Well, I had to throw up. Like I'm like, dude, I like puke in my
He's
mouth.
like, pull
I'm
over,
just like,
pull over.
"Oh."
Yeah, it was fucked
It's
up.
fucking terrible, man.
Oh, up.
Yeah, did they just let
I've
you?
never seen someone throw up off of weed.
How'd you get away with it? They just ignore you.
I guess it's because I was
They
white.
didn't even
It was a
fucking-
car full of white
You're
kids.
like, "Oh, there you go."
I don't know.
There you go.
It's a white 20-year-old. Fuck it. It's probably just drunk.
Right?
He's just taking some mistakes. He's on his way home. He's
Oh
fine.
man, I
He's
mean,
one of those good college kids.
I did
Yeah.
look like a good college kid.
No. You look like he just beat up a good college kid.
All right. Moving along. Randy Rainbow. The fuck is Randy?
So anyway, Randy Rainbow is just about the gayest gay person that I've ever seen. He's super flamboyant, but he does like YouTube videos, and most of them are political. Where he takes like old songs, like it could be a Barbra Streisand song or whatever. The link I put there is that song Rent, that song where it like counts it down or whatever, where it's 525,600 minutes.
Right.
Yeah.
But like he does one where it's all about Trump. It's called Seasons of Trump. It's fucking hilarious, dude. And he's really good too. It isn't like it's just some chump who threw the shit together. But yeah, his Twitter is fucking funny as fuck. He always talks about banging Mike Pence and shit. It's like some Mike Pence's is like older man like fantasy and shit.
Do you think he really fantasizes?
No,
about
I
Mike
probably
Pence?
not. But
Vape
who
pen.
knows?
Oh, here she goes.
It's for the likes.
Okay,
It's for the
okay,
lols.
Okay, I get it. Okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
so
that
he's
would be
funny, he's a funny
amazing.
follow on Twitter.
Yeah, you know though, like that takes a lot of work. He's like doing in all these different costumes and shit.
Yeah, he's got
like,
6 different like harmonies and shit going
Right.
on. Like he hits a high C at the end, which I don't know that he actually did it. He probably like pulled someone in to do it, but
or auto-tuned.
yeah.
Cool.
So anyway, yeah.
All right, moving along. Teddy,
Awesome.
Madden League.
So we got a Madden League started. Mystics in it, me. Some guys I hadn't talked to or played with in a while.
Bunch of
It's just kind of
fags.
a bunch of fags, but it's kind of cool. I was feeling nostalgic.
We'll cancel
I'm
you.
the youngest. I believe I'm the youngest guy in this group, actually. So she's
No way,
So,
really?
yeah.
Wow.
Unless Cameron is younger than me. But yeah, I'm the youngest guy
No,
in
I
the
think
group.
he's like, well, I think he's your age, 40.
Oh, shit.
Do you think? Okay, so now we're getting at a stage in our lives, and with these franchises, there are certain franchises that I'm sure the demographic is different than people, other games that people play. Do you think Madden is the game that the oldest demographic plays in terms of like an actual video game?
It's probably
game,
one of
yes.
them.
What? You mean
It's
old
probably one of
players?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's probably
oldest
one of them for
players
sure.
because it's been around forever, right? And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Since Sega Genesis.
I would say racing games also
Mm.
because I've
Yeah.
met a lot of older people playing those.
Yeah. That or fucking Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Oh yeah,
fishing.
that's probably up there.
Yeah.
Farming simulator.
Yeah. Actually, that I think sells a lot of copies.
It does. I have a lot of friends playing
I've
this
seen
shit. Like,
also
what is-
those
I'm like, what
truck
is this shit
simulators.
with plain corn, bro?
Right? That's weird.
Well, Travis
I guess
just
if you're
posted in the comments. He said that his buddy posted today that college freshmen were born in 2001.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I saw some girls on Reddit
I'd already
with
been out
things
of
that
high school
said,
for 5 years.
look at this 2000 package, and I was like, 2000? I'm like, oh Jesus, Lord have mercy.
A lot of
You can fall
mercy.
off. You can fall
All
off.
right, is that it for Madden?
Yeah, it's just a nice little nostalgic old man fucking. Yeah, you're all gonna lose horribly, but
You're
you know,
gay, Teddy. Shut up.
fuck you.
Yeah, right. Look at that dog. He knows.
She
Okay,
knows.
moving along. Me, vaccine hunters. I don't know if you've heard the story, but I guess there's kind of an underground group or movement to try to track where possible vaccine doses might be that may go to waste. So people are going to where vaccine sites are, where there's like a day's worth of appointments, and essentially what it is because the vaccine, it's stored at such a cold temperature, but it's brought down to room temperature for the injections, but at room temperature it's only good for about 5 hours. So there are people who don't come for their appointments. So sometimes there's a couple doses. You know, sometimes like this one news story, it was like there was a dozen doses that were left over. And it's like, if they're not used, they'll go to waste. So people are following and basically just waiting in the parking lot for hours, but to
Dumpster
see
diving
sometimes
for Rona vaccinations.
exactly.
Right.
Well, they're not. You know, I mean, granted, they're not dumpster diving. It's the clinic is just like, you know, we don't want any of it to go to waste. So if you're waiting here all day for a chance, it's kind of like winning the lottery, the vaccine lottery.
Right.
But
That's
it's
smart.
cool. There's yeah. So I guess I don't know if it's like it's probably like a Reddit group or something. Or no, it was a Facebook group. That's what it was. That way too. It's like some of these clinic spots can be like, hey, we've got 10 doses from no shows, and they're going to be, bad in a couple hours, and then like people show up, and make use of them.
Show up scratching their arms and shit.
Right?
You got them doses, man?
Yeah, right. Can I have a couple X dose changes? Give me this. All right. Moving along to fuck what you think. Oracle, just give me the damn eggs.
Yeah.
Give me-
So I do the pickup thing from Walmart for my grocery shopping. It's just kind of, you schedule it a couple days ahead of time. You order your shit online, pull up into the designated parking spot. It works really well with the app, and then they put the fucking shit in your trunk and you drive away.
All right, wham bam.
Yeah.
Do they give you a time window that you?
Yeah, so you have to do a time
Yeah.
window. It's all coordinated, and it's definitely getting more popular because I have to do it at least a couple days ahead of time in order to get a time spot that I want. But this works out pretty well. And the last time I went, they actually gave me they fucked somebody else's shit up and gave me a carrot cake, which was nice.
Nice.
Someone got screwed on a carrot
Right.
cake.
Some little girl is crying at her birthday party.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I'm fucking stuffing my face.
This shit's good.
Right. But anyway, so this works out pretty well. And if they don't have something, they will generally make a substitution. Like, let's say it's a bigger size, so they'll do 2 smaller sizes, and you don't get charged anything extra. It's just, they calculate it at the same price. Okay, this is great. And they send out a substitutions thing like a few hours before, saying like, okay, here are your substitutions. How do you feel about this? Normally, not that big of an issue, whatever. But I'm getting ready to leave my work and go pick these groceries up, and I check my email, and it's like, oh, well, we didn't have 18 pack of brown eggs. And it's just like, they didn't do a substitution. It's like, sorry, we're just out of this. And it's like, they're fucking
They didn't give you
eggs.
some other eggs.
Just give me some
Yeah.
goddamn eggs. That's,
So wait, can't you tell them to do substitution, or I guess how's that work?
Well, you can approve or deny, but it was too late. Like they had
It's
done
always
this.
up to the personal shopper person that does it for you.
Right.
Like, dude, I do
Right.
that all the time. I get it from Pick and Save, and they don't even tell me like what it substitutes. They just substitute it. Like, I came home one time, I was gonna make fucking lime shrimp and fucking steak tacos, and instead of the ribeye fucking steak I bought, I got a fucking 3-pound pot roast. You know what I'm saying? Like, for the same price. Like, what the fuck am I gonna do with a fucking pot roast? I can't make steak
Some
tacos out of a
motherfucker,
pot
it's
roast.
just like, I don't see that.
Meat's
Just
meat.
Exactly. Yeah. Some kid who's putting my shit. It's like, that looks like a steak. Fucking. I mean, whatever. I have a pot roast in the freezer now that I can cook later on, but it didn't help me at the time. You know what I mean?
That's fucking hilarious.
I never
Like,
thought
this is
about it like
substitute.
that, but yeah.
They just substitute. Like, I order these
Whatever.
Tyson chicken strip things that you cook in the oven, and they gave me fucking, like, I don't even know what they were. Like it wasn't even chicken. It tasted like the chicken that you get at a shitty Chinese restaurant, like the where it's all
Right.
breaded, weirdly
Yeah.
breaded and shit.
That's
Like,
funny.
Yeah.
dude, just don't give it. If you don't have it, just don't give it to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I'd rather
I'm sure
just
they
not
had
get it
fucking
and go to a different
eggs
store.
in
Yeah,
Walmart.
eggs is a different story. Yeah.
You know, like a staple. Like just give me
they got different kinds of eggs.
right.
You
Or
can
if it's
pick the
bread or
fucking packet.
something, just give me the fucking bread. Like I don't give a shit. It's fucking like
Yeah.
nature's best or whatever.
What the fuck? Just give
No,
me my
wait.
goddamn groceries.
Now, how do you shop at Aldi's?
Oh, you gotta. I think they do have something like this at some locations. I don't believe it's at all locations, but I go in, and Aldi is right next to Walmart for me. So I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm going into fucking Aldi.
Yeah, I'd go to Aldi over Walmart.
Yeah.
I think they're a German
Yeah.
company, aren't they?
I haven't been to a Walmart in
Yes,
fucking
yeah,
years.
they're German.
Do Aldi still have the carts that lock
Mhm.
into each other and you got to use a quarter?
Yeah. I don't use a
Nice.
cart. I used. They have the best fucking reusable bags. These things are indestructible. If you get the real stout ones that they have,
Oh,
they're really good. So I just walk
Tote
in with like
Life.
a couple of those.
Word.
Boom.
Word 'em up. Moving along. Fuck what you think. Mystic. Snow.
Yeah, dude. It snowed here again today. This is ridiculous. There's like over a foot of snow in my front yard. I don't
Yep.
want to live here anymore.
Who has to deal with that? Which
This
daughter?
state. No, the neighbor, my landlord lives. It's a duplex, so he lives right next door. He just
Oh,
snow
does he
blows
take
it.
care of
But we usually do like the walkway from our door, and put salt down and shit. But
Yep.
then we got to clear our cars off, and we move the cars out of the way so he can snow blow it. But it's just fucking what the fuck, man? Like, why? Why is this like this? Why did somebody see this shit 300 or whatever, 150 years ago? You know what I mean? In
All the
Milwaukee,
snow.
and was like, this will make a good fucking city. There's a
Yeah.
foot of snow on the ground. No, dude, I gotta get out of
Right.
here.
Or they're like, fuck this shit, let's move south.
Yeah, dude.
Um,
I don't know how you can live north of here.
Oh, it's you go. My ex-wife was up from Marinette, and it's like it seems like the
Oh, yeah,
halfway
that's
point
way
in
up.
Wisconsin. You get past the halfway point, Green Bay and above, and it's just
Yeah, it
frigid.
gets fucked. Yeah.
Mhm.
I remember going out and thinking
North
like,
of
part of my
Wausau,
soul was
basically.
disappearing. Like,
Where me and Oracle lived. We were like
how
right
bad
on the
was it,
verge
Ashtray?
of super duper cold northern Wisconsin shit.
Oh yeah. Fuck that.
Yeah, so fuck the snow. Snizow.
Snizzy snow, fuck it. All right, Ashtray, meat. Motherfuckers is acting like it's easy breezy summertime.
What?
Just I think people with because the vaccine, it's
Oh.
in the rollout, but people are kind of
Oh,
like,
like
oh.
you mean people that choose to go to fucking Disney World
yeah, people say, yeah, like I'm gonna go to
when a
fucking
global
Disney World.
pandemic is happening? Yeah,
Exactly.
those kind of people.
People who where it's like, where the fuck where have you been? Come on, Ashtray. They don't call me Ashtray in the real world, but
Craig,
you know, it's
dance
like-
machine?
fucking stay stay at home. I'm not gonna hang out in the bar with the doors are stuffed and you see the air circulation is just happening right here. Like I'll get carry out. Sure, like I can be in there for a bit with my mask on, but I'm not gonna hang out there. Especially because when you see
I prefer
like
my
bar
vibes
people,
to go.
bar people are like the sloppiest.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Even the ones who believe in masks, the sloppiest motherfuckers of trying to stop the pandemic. And it's like during the wintertime, I'm just I ain't gonna fuck with it. People are like, oh, what's the matter? What are you all
What's the
paranoid
matter?
about?
Do
know,
they all sound
you know
like
what?
bubbles?
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
I'm
they
not
always
gonna
sound like
fuck with
bubbles.
it.
In the summertime, it's like, oh, you had the back and front door open, like fuck, air's flowing, nice, breezy, like,
Easy
y-
breezy.
well,
Temperature.
a little safer, I guess. I don't know, but I ain't like, I'm so close to getting the
I think you're
vaccine. I
just
ain't
being a
fuck this.
bitch, dude.
Yeah, maybe I'm being a bitch. Fuck it.
Being a bitch about it, to be honest with you.
You know what? Come to my house. Fuck you. I'm here. Come visit me. I'm fucking making shit.
Better
To be honest with
dumpster
you,
dive behind CVS.
I'm not here crying like I'm alone.
To be honest with you, I don't do anything anyway.
Well, yeah, I knew that. You have a family.
Like honestly, this hasn't really changed much of my life. I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like other than going to the grocery store, which I don't miss.
Right.
This really is no different. So like I forget a lot of times that this is happening. You know what I mean? I walk into work like without a mask on and shit, and I'll be like, "Oh fuck yeah, that's right," because I just spent 5 days not having to worry about wearing one.
Right.
I'm at home, so whatever.
Yeah, it's like I still get my free jukebox credits, so it's like sometimes I'll play some songs from my house, but it's like I don't wait.
It's just people it'll just pop on and shit.
Oh yeah,
while
I'd be like,
they're
what the fuck?
while
Oh
they're
yeah,
drinking.
I've had some people message me like, we were wondering who the fuck played the band.
So
You should just
Are you
start
going
playing
to the
some
bar at
fucked
all?
up shit.
I mean, I haven't been. I mean, I've been to the bar for carry out, but no, I haven't. Like I haven't hung out in the bar since probably November. October, November, maybe. Yeah, actually, October. Or October. I did the Halloween. I did music for Halloween. In my costume, I had my respirator on. So, but since it got cold, and doors are closed and the heat's just circulating, everything's fucking dry. Right now, and so yeah, that's just like I'm just gonna hunker down until it gets nicer out.
Hunkering down.
Hunkering down, yeah. So it's not like, I guess the only things I really do, I share the air only long term with my coworkers. Otherwise, gas station or grocery store, like you're kind of in and out fairly quickly. Or getting carry out from somewhere. But no, I don't hang around because even when it was the weather or the air circulation was nice, like you can see how sloppy my bar friends were. It's just like I can't be around that.
There we go. Ash tree is too good for him.
I know, right? Getting fucking all hoity-toity. Oh,
You
right.
think you're fucking better than me?
I come in there with a white cloth and like run it over the rail. Oh, dirty. All right, moving along. Teddy, Black History Month bullshit. The only one who can complain about it.
Fuck you. So first off, I didn't even know. Stop, for fuck's sake.
I didn't know it was Black History Month?
I didn't know it was Black History Month until I turned on Hulu one night. And it fucking and all these black movies and everything else are in the fucking are on the front pages and really pushed to the front. I'm real fucking stoned and my dog won't
I
fucking
know,
stop.
I know, it's
fucking
cute.
going
It's
ape
cute.
shit.
Stop.
Keep
God
wrestling
damn.
with her while you tell it. It's adorable.
It's fucking so annoying. Stop.
Adorable.
Oh, fuck's
Watching Teddy be super stoned and wrestle with this dog.
sake.
Right?
So,
It's
This is
pretty
how you
great.
bond with the dog.
all right, I am high as shit. Oh god damn it.
Oh, yeah.
The fact that all this black media is now pushed to the forefront for the next 28 days, or 26 now, because of Black History Month, when it's snubbed at award shows like the Oscars and the Emmys, it's kind of insulting. It's blatant pandering. It's very fucking annoying.
Yeah.
And you
it's
guys don't
always
even get a
been-
full month.
Yeah, that's right.
You just
Give him the
get
shortest one.
the shitty short one. Give me
28
February.
days.
Nobody gives a fuck about February.
Yeah.
Right? My birthday's
Oh,
this
that's
month.
Shit.
Boom.
Are you fishing for a compliment? Happy
Yeah,
fucking
right.
birthday.
Somebody say happy birthday, and I'm like, I'm older than I've ever been.
What's it? It's nice.
All right. Is that it for your bitching about Black History Month?
Yeah,
Black man?
Yeah, fuck you, man.
I'm gonna say, like, I'll let you stay.
It is
I'll let you
some
bitch
pretty
as much as you
hardcore
want.
pandering though. Amazon has it. Netflix
I mean, yeah,
has
Oh
it.
yeah,
all of-
my
all of them
Prime
do.
thing has
It's
had a
fucking-
black. I think
Yeah.
it's been for the last year. It's black voices or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some of them are like totally appropriate, but then there's other ones where it's just like,
Yeah, it's like Shaft.
yeah, shit. Or it was
That's not a fucking what? No.
How to Be a Menace to South Central while drinking your juice in the
Right,
hood. And I'm like,
yeah.
Like it's no, man.
I mean, like it's a
And they
parody
probably
of.
include it because it's a weigh-ins. You know what I mean? Like they're
I guess,
successful black men, basically, not just
True, they
actors,
direct-
but they own the
wrote it.
fucking the company that made it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
Shit
see
like
what you're
that. That's probably why there's Tyler Perry shit up there too. He does do a lot for
That makes sense.
black
Yeah,
community,
he has his
but
own
still,
whole studio
it's still a pandering.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And when you only do it for that month,
For that month, yeah.
it's
It's what it is.
Well, the thing is, like, you could then just have the black voices or section fucking year round. I
Right.
mean, it feels like it was going on last fall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they didn't want their shit fucked up.
Oh
by
yeah, because of
BLM.
the riots. That's why they put it up.
They burn the shit down, put it up
Yeah,
there.
right. Then that one guy, that fucking weirdo, was it played the fucking 8-track of downtown,
Boom.
blew
I
up.
just want to say during those riots, white people set fire to a lot of shit that black folks not paying for.
Nashville. Hey,
Oh,
any
yeah.
updates Ted,
I mean,
about
Say
the
what?
Nashville bombing there that blew out the AT&T infrastructure for a moment there?
apparently he was in there.
Yeah, like he
it's like a
he
suicide
died.
thing. Yeah, he died. I don't know the specifics because I didn't give a shit. So
Oh, I mean, I guess like I think
Oh,
there'd be like a
Jeez.
follow up of the families and shit that got.
I'm
I mean,
sure there is, but Teddy
apartment?
don't give a shit.
I mean, nobody was killed. So I mean, it was.
Other than the jack off who did it, so fuck
I
him.
mean,
If
yeah.
that shit happened here in Madison, I'd be like following that story like
Of
a hawk.
course you would. That's
I mean,
totally
yeah,
your
it's
fucking
it's
story.
Because
yeah. I
it's
don't.
right
I
up
live,
my alley.
I
I
You
got
would have
south-
started a subreddit.
I
Right.
would have. I would have.
Yeah,
I would have been right
I live
on
south
the
of
case.
Nashville, so I don't fucking. Yeah.
Just enough to complain about it
Citizen
when the real
journalist.
story came out. All right.
I
in
liked
all
one of your
seriousness,
boss's Twitter videos today.
Go fuck
Which is-
yourself, Punxsutawney Phil. A groundhog will always see its shadow when it hams it up in front of the limelight. The limelight. I'm
The
drunk.
mime light.
It's our show.
Yeah, Travis says you're blasted, bro.
I am. I'm gonna
Like
be
I'm
hurt
stoned.
tomorrow.
I'm stoned shitless. But Mystic, I didn't fall asleep, bro.
We're gonna be here
Damn.
every Wednesday or Thursday night, 10 p.m. Central. Make sure you join the conversation at theredeyereport.com or facebook.com/redeye report. You can also twiddle us, maybe. Like us, share us, or fuck us. We're down for
Yes,
whatever
you
because
can.
I'm Ashtray.
I'm Oracle.
I run the Twitter.
Oh, I'm Teddy.
And this is the Red Eye Report.
Oh my
What happened,
god.
Orc?
What is
Oh my god.